So once again, the website Polygon's bias rears its head again. So for those of you who don't know, Polygon is or was a website that had many admirable people from all across the video game industry, and it was something that even I was like, okay, this could be something great. And even before it was formed, people were like, oh man, this site is going to be the bomb, this is going to be the greatest, and unfortunately it didn't really happen that way. I think it was shortly, like really shortly before their website officially launched, Polygon, and this is no joke, you guys can go to Google and whatever you want to do, Polygon got about $750,000 from Microsoft. I think it was making a documentary and a startup type donation deal. And immediately people cried foul, and they're like, wow, this is not going to be biased in any way. And it really did not take long for that bias to rear its ugly head. So first and foremost, two important things to not, I guess, contradict the message I'm going to try and portray in this video. As I mentioned in a previous video, where I was talking about how Microsoft was buying Skyrim DLC and I couldn't play it because of that. And even in that video, I expressed distaste for how PlayStation handled the Battlefield 3 DLC, where you got it like a week early and all that. I hate that practice. If you guys care to see that more, check it out. But that's on that point. I am anti-bias against whoever it is, no matter what company, anything at all. I hate biasism or that practice. And two, as I think very few of you might have seen on like the Naughty Dog Last of Us forums, I had to kind of fend off another YouTuber by pretty much asserting that his opinion does not equal fact. His opinion is no more greater than anyone else's. So I completely understand, and I have roots. And an opinion is fine. It's not fact. The reviews are an opinion in itself, and the scores are directly related to that opinion. However, when that opinion, before it's even formed, is corrupted or made into a biased nature, before that opinion's even formed, that's where you have a problem, because that is more or less lying. And so with that Polygon situation where they got almost $1 million from Microsoft, and the fact that they started giving many PlayStation games well below average, is way too much of a coincidence for it not to have some biased nature in play. And I am one who firmly believes that there are no such things as coincidences. Not anything like fate or destiny, no. Just things line up in a certain way, just part of life. So with all that said, explaining how I am minimally biased in nature, I try not to be at any point in time, and with the very fact that it's just too much of a coincidence to bear, Polygon has made many reviews or done things, which I'll get into in a minute, that are so anti-Sony that it's almost disgusting. They gave Ni no Kuni, I believe, a very low score compared to what it was getting. I think it was a 6.5 out of 10, and that was one of my 2013 Game of the Year's list. I don't think it's going to win, but it is on the list. It was a really great game in the feels. And then the next notable one was The Last of Us. They gave it a 7.5 out of 10, and many people consider that like the game of this console generation, if not, up there as one of the best of all time. And just before I go any further, I know an opinion is an opinion. People are not going to like what you like, people are not going to hate what you hate, but as I mentioned before, when coincidences line up and that opinion is, influenced before it's even formed, there's just something wrong there, and something I hate in any business practice or community. But that is not all. One of my good friends, Reality Pales, who I met in Seattle as a part of like the PlayStation Blogger program, he himself, along with many others, have experienced this. But when people were calling them out on, Polygon's well below average opinion, the biased nature, what do? Instead of, say, no, this isn't true, okay, maybe there is some sort of slight problem here, we'll work to fix it. No, they just like banned people who called them out on their bias, and that's just despicable, as I don't believe, as a certain individual who probably isn't going to watch this video knows, I hate silencing people as long as no one's getting hurt. It's just such a small-minded tactic that just shows you how true the notion is that Polygon is biased. So couple all that together with what I told you about myself and what I hate. Now to the present, PS4 stuff has been coming out, hardware reviews, game reviews, etc. And most of all the PlayStation 4 stuff has been positive, except for Knack. I feel so sorry for Knack. I wanted that to be good. It looked like an old action-adventure platformer, but it's getting kind of bad reviews. But I digress. They're giving PlayStation products, Polygon is giving PlayStation products well below average reviews. And once again, people are onto what they're doing. I mean, if you go to any of like the media hub sites or Polygon's comments, etc., or even people who've made their own stories on other sites of how Polygon's bias is coming up again. So it's not just, you know, the gamer community. There's other people in the you know, editorial, writing, business, gaming community who are aware of this as well. So to wrap this whole video up, I guess the main point is I'm not mad at Polygon for giving PlayStation 4 stuff or any PlayStation thing negative reviews. I'm mad that it is so clearly abundant that Polygon's bias towards Sony products because of, you know, the Microsoft donation and just silencing the people who are calling them out on it is just so prevalent that this is more or less a horrible, horrible thing to do in a gaming community or any community or business practice or place of, you know, business establishment. It just needs to stop. And until people realize that gaming and any other type of community has its, you know, its beautifulness and its own, I guess, just its own way of making people happy, that they need to realize that first rather than be like, oh, hey, money, oh, more hits, oh, more exclusives and better products coming my way because I do this one thing just for myself or just to do what this company wants me to. That needs to stop. So the minute game, you know, writers, bloggers, editorials, companies start putting the customer and or followers and the gaming community in this instant first, that's when we'll start to see a turnaround instead of focus on, you know, the individual or themselves first or the companies to, you know, ensure that they keep getting products or money or they're biased one way so they get more money from this company. Once that stops, I feel that the gaming community will take a very, very steep right direction.